everybody. So we are here for the next entry in our Disney Canon project. We are looking at Oliver and Company. And Oliver and Company is an interesting movie because it really was an attempt, I think, by the Walt Disney Studios to throw a ton at the wall and kind of see what sticks. And and so I think that's part of the reason why it is a very uneven film, but it does have some good things, does some bad things about it, but we can talk about it. This film was released in 1988, and it is based very, very loosely on the Charles Dickens classic Oliver and Company. This is not like the Great Mouse Detective, which was a pretty faithful as far as in feel to a Sherlock Holmes story, but just with mice. This is very, very different than the Charles Dickens Oliver Twist story, but it has a few little similarities between it. And the thing that is kind of most important about this movie is the music. And that's one of the things they were really testing. They were trying to see what kind of music people wanted in a movie. They'd done The Black Cauldron, they'd done Great Mouse Detective, which had a few songs. Black Cauldron hadn't had any songs, but that was a huge flop. Fox and the Hound had had some songs, but they weren't that memorable. So they were just kind of testing out where things would be going, I think, with Disney animation. And it's interesting because Oliver and Company is one of the only Disney films that has an urban environment. I love the opening montage with Once Upon a Time in New York City, sung by Huey Lewis, and it's just beautiful, and it gives you the sense of the city. And it's
always once upon a time in New York City. It's a big old battle, tough old town, it's true. But beginnings are contagious there. They're always setting stages there. They're always turning pages there for you.
It's just kind of cool to see Disney's take on a modern city, because usually they're in fairy tales or something more quaint, like a farm or something like that. And the only other time they really even do it is in Big Hero 6, which is another reason I really love Big Hero 6. And so that's really cool and interesting, and also it's very heart-wrenching when you see the New York skyline and you can see Disney's drawing of the Twin Towers in the skyline. That's just breaks my heart every time I see it. And so you get introduced to this little cat named Oliver, and he's like an orphan cat. He's not picked up in the box of kittens, so he's looking for food, and he meets this dog named Dodger, and the Dodger kind of teaches him the way of the streets and how you can steal these hot dogs, and he sings our first great song. I think it is one of the great Billy Joel songs, honestly. I love Billy Joel. I've seen him live. I think he's an amazing, amazing, amazing talent. If you followed me on Friday 5, I picked a number of his songs on the Friday 5, and here it's Why Should I Worry?
I got New York City heart. Why should I worry? Why should I care?
Great song. It's one of the underrated, I think, Disney songs, and the way that it's all animated and it kind of flows and you get to learn about Dodger in the scenes is really, really entertaining. So eventually Oliver kind of follows Dodger to his home, I guess, on the docks, and there is a whole sort of group of dogs there that are owned by this guy named Fagin. And it's frustrating because Fagin in the book is extremely manipulative and bitter and just a much more interesting character than what you get here. Here Fagin is whiny and annoying and just kind of a wimp. And I don't know, I don't understand why they did that. I don't understand why they added another villain, this guy named Sykes, who is this sort of gangster, this mob boss kind of a thing, and Fagin owes him money, and that's just so boring of a plot line. And the villain, the villain here reminds me a lot of the villain in Inspector Gadget with a claw and everything. Like, Sykes is just so boring and lame. You get none of his personality. You get more personality out of the claw in Inspector Gadget than you get out of Sykes. Also, having Dom DeLuise, I think, is a mistake for Fagin, because there's just no chance that he's really a bad guy at all when you have Dom DeLuise, who's such a likable voice in so many movies. So he just ends up being just a lame character, when in the book he's so great. It's just as far as he's horrible, but he's so manipulative. You have a chance to make, just don't understand why they made that choice. Have a chance to have a really intimidating, scary villain, and instead they pick somebody who is just a non-entity in Sykes, and they have Fagin just be this whiny, sad, pathetic kind of guy. It's weird to me. But there's sort of this crew of dogs there that are there with Fagin. Cheech Marine, who's voicing Tito, and he's funny. Richard Mulligan as the Great Dane dog, he's good. Roscoe Lee Brown as Francis is really funny. He's probably my favorite of the group. I really like Rita, who is voiced by Sheryl Lee Ralph, but also Ruth Pointer in the song. And I think her song's actually pretty good. And so they start on this attempt to try to help Fagin to be able to pay back this debt. And so that's where pretty much any similarity to the book is gone at this point for the Horace of the movie, which is just a shame. You have a chance to do Oliver Twist. It's a great story. I don't understand why they made the decisions that they made. But anyway, Oliver ends up, they try to pull this con on this little girl, this rich girl named Jenny, who was originally going to be Penny from the Rescuers, but then that kind of changed. But you can see it's definitely some recycled animation there with Jenny. Jenny owns this dog named Georgette, who is voiced by Bette Midler, and Georgette is a great character. She's snobby, she looks down on everybody, but she likes things the way that she wants them, but she does it in a really funny way, and I enjoy that. And she has a song, Easy, which goes into this great sort of Busby Berkeley kind of old school sort of Hollywood feel to it, that I really like the animation in that sequence. And you've got Bette Midler's voice. Holy cow.
Pretty is nice, but still it's just pretty. Perfect, my dear, is me.
Yeah, great. And so that's good. The con doesn't really work, but they end up kind of ingratiating Oliver with Jenny, and so things get a little bit complicated. Well, Fagin decides that he's going to kidnap Oliver, and he's going to hold Oliver hostage so that he can get the money, but it ends up getting more and more complicated as Jenny ends up going to try to free Oliver, and everybody has to go and try to help Jenny from the Sykeses of the world, and who are going to hurt her, and because they're mad at Fagin. Anyway, so it just becomes kind of a cat and mouse kind of chase type game towards the end. And the only good thing I think really about Sykes is he does have these two Doberman pinchers who are pretty intimidating and scary, probably better villains than Sykes himself, which is funny. And the way that Sykes dies is definitely the best part about him. There's an extended car chase between Sykes and Fagin and the other characters, and it ends up on this subway, and this was a really first extended use of computer animation, and it looks great, especially for the time if you think about it. So that's really, really cool. And yeah, I mean, the art design is kind of on a Saturday morning cartoon level. A lot of this movie is on a Saturday morning cartoon level. I mean, it starts out really strong in the art design, like I said, going into New York City and get this urban feel, but it sort of loses it pretty quickly and just becomes kind of generic and a Saturday morning sort of entertainment. I put this right on the same level as I would like All Dogs Go to Heaven. It has that same sort of animation style, and it's fine. It's not horrible horrible movie, but it's not particularly special. It's kind of generic. And it does have those 2 excellent singing numbers. Streets of Gold, sung by Ruth Pointer. I think that's actually a pretty good song too. So it's got a couple actually strong numbers, probably 4 pretty good songs. And it's enjoyable. I don't hate it. I don't think it's horrible, but I just think that they threw away what was such a good story in Oliver Twist and made something pretty lame. Like, I don't understand why they made the decision that they made with Fagin. I think Sykes is super boring villain, and especially the end with all sort of the hostages and the running around this factory and then trying to get everybody freed and everything. It's just kind of it's lame. It's not that good. And Jenny's kind of a throwaway character. She's not that good. So yeah, it's okay. It's fine to watch. I give Oliver and Company a C. I think that is a fair grade for this. So let me know what you think of Oliver and Company. Is it one that you loved growing up? Put in the comments section, and thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!